Go. Okay, guys, good morning. So, I hope you guys are good, doing well in lockdown. And this is for the first time we are having online classes for our legal studies. So, the topic for the day is trademark. All right. So, today we are going to discuss what is the concept of trademark, what are the various type of trademarks, and what are the things that is required to obtain a trademark. All right. But before we start with trademark, let us have a quick revision so that we can correlate things when we discuss trademark. So, actually we are dealing with intellectual property rights. All right. So, when the term intellectual property right comes, what do we understand? In a very simple way, intellectual property rights are those rights given to an individual or to a particular persons, those who are good in creative things. All right. It is to safeguard the rights of an individual or a person or a creator. All right. For example, if I am an author, all right, so I write books, I write stories. So I come up with a fantastic story and I want to publish it in future. But suddenly Mr. X comes and tells me that no, actually this is my story, this is my work. Then what will happen? All my hard work, my creation, it will go in vain, isn't it? So intellectual property rights is a right which protects the intellectual thoughts. All right. Another example I would like to give you is supposing, let's say I am a musician and I compose music. All right. And I have composed a music, a beautiful one, let's say, and some other fellow comes and tells that no, actually that music composition is mine and not yours. But the fact is, I am the creator, I have composed it, I have created it with my intellectual thoughts. So, what do we do now? Intellectual property rights will protect my creativity, my innovations as a creator. Alright? So, that is what intellectual property right is all about. So, this is the basic structure. Now, we should always remember one thing. Intellectual property right is like a tree, it's like a big tree with many branches. All right. And trademark, TM, trademark is one of branches under intellectual property rights. All right. As we have already done copyrights, now we have moved to trademark. So when we say trademark, what do we understand? Trademark, in a very simple way, we can always say trademark is nothing but it's a brand's name, or in a very simple way, it's a logo. For example, we all desire to have smartphones and we all desire to have a branded one, isn't it? And when we talk about phone, the first thing which comes in our mind is Apple. Now there is a sign over there which we all know, a half-bite apple. Now that is the logo for the Apple company. So this is what trademark is all about. Now another example which we can take is, if you want to buy a shoe, all right, we always tend to go for branded ones, isn't it? Some of you might go for Nike, some of you might go for Adidas. So the logo which we see over there, these are all trademarks of a company, so that it describes the moment when we see that logo, it comes in our mind that, oh, this belongs to Adidas, this belongs to Nike, this shoe belongs to other companies. All right. So this is all about trademark. So our trademark can be a name, as I've already said. A trademark can be a name that is Samsung. For example, we all say Samsung. We all use Samsung phone, isn't it? So the word Samsung is trademark for Samsung company. Word, slogans, designs, symbols, or other unique devices that identifies a product or organization. As I've already said, when you look that Apple thing, then we instantly recognize that belongs to Apple product, isn't it? Now when we look at that Adidas sign, then we instantly recognize that it belongs to the Adidas one, the Adidas company. All right. So now moving next is position of trademark under Trademark Act 1999. So what is the position of trademark in our country according to Trademark Act of 1999? So section 2 of the Act of 1999 states that trademark means a mark capable of being represented graphically. As I have already said, it has to be represented in graphically in a very simple term, in a paperwork. It has to have some word, it has to have some logo on it, it has to have some something which proves that yes, this product belongs to a particular company. All right. So that is the first number one criteria, and which is capable of distinguishing the goods and services. Now when we say goods and services, again, when we go to get a new phone, supposing I step inside a Apple store, over there I ask for a Apple iPhone, isn't it? So the Apple company is giving me what it is providing me, its goods, isn't it? Now what do we understand by service is when we log in to Google. Now Google, we all know Google, we have all seen the logo of Google, how it looks, isn't it? So that Google is the symbol of Google company. Now the Google company will not provide me with goods, but the Google company will provide me with service, isn't it? So that is the difference between good and service. So this is the second criteria. From those of another, and may include a shape of goods, their packaging and combination of colors. Now the third criteria for a trademark is, let's say we all have seen Amul, isn't it? How does the packet of an Amul looks like? That small fat girl standing, isn't it? The taste of India, we call it, they say it. Now that is one of its trademark sign. That fat girl, that packaging. By the time we look at that packet of that Amul, that Tetra Pak or something, Amul product, we come to know that this product belongs to Amul, isn't it? So this is another criteria, packaging. Now another example for packaging is, let's say Maggi. We all are very familiar with Maggi, isn't it? Now that yellow packet, even if you close the front part of that packet of Maggi, we will know it's a Maggi. Why? Because of its color. We get Maggi in yellow. So this is packaging. So this is what section 2 of the Act is trying to tell us. Now when we move on to another one, what are the legal requirements to register a trademark under the Trademark Act 1999? So what are the requirements that are required under the Trademark Act 1999 are as follows. I have already sent you notes through offline PDF in your WhatsApp, so hope you guys will relate me. The number one point, the number one requirement to have registered as a trademark under the Trademark Act 1999 is the selected mark should be capable of being represented graphically. So whenever we come up with a new trademark, then there has to be some sort of logo, some sort of symbol, or in a written form or in a word form, so that it can be recognized graphically. All right. The second point is it should be capable of distinguishing the goods and services of one undertaking from those of others. So number 2 requirement is there should be a concept of this. We should be able to distinguish between whether it's a good or it's a service. For example, I've already said, we all know KFC, isn't it? Now, if I step inside KFC and I ask for a Apple or a Samsung phone, then people will laugh at me, isn't it? Because KFC is for fried chickens. And in a very similar way, if I step into an Apple store and ask for KFC meat, then again it will be of no use. So there has to be distinguished. All right. Another thing is there has to be distinguished between what is a good and what is service. Now, as I've already said, good. When we talk about goods, these are the things which we get, isn't it? These are the things which we get. For example, if I sit in front of Google and I type, I want to eat biryani, I want to order biryani, for example, then I will not get. Why? Because I am in a wrong place. Google will give me service but not goods. But if I order the same thing in Zomato or any other apps, then I can have my biryani, isn't it? So there should be difference between goods and services. Goods means if I want to buy a phone, obviously every one of us will intend to buy a branded one. All right. For example, if I buy a Samsung phone, so the Samsung company is providing me goods, isn't it? I am getting some product from that company. Now, if I sit in front of Google and if I order Samsung phone, that is not possible, isn't it? Google will give me services. For example, if I want to search, if I want to learn, or if I want to know about anything, Google will provide me. It's a search engine, isn't it? So the Google is giving me service. All right. So this is number 2 criteria. Now we move on to our next one, that is types of trademark. All right. There are basically 3 types of trademark. Number 1 is product mark. A product mark is similar to a trademark. The only difference is it refers to trademarks related to products or goods and not services. It is used to identify the sources of product and to distinguish a manufacturer's product from others. What does this mean? Again, I will give you an example. The best example is Amul. It's a product, it's a dairy product, we all know, and it's a product in our country which is used by each and every household, isn't it? Now, the moment you see that fat little girl standing at Amul product, we recognize, we can say this particular packet belongs to Amul. So that is their trademark and it is called product mark. Another example is, the common example is Nestle, isn't it? Under Nestle we have Maggi. Now, the moment we see that yellow packet, we say it's a Maggi, isn't it? So that particular color, that particular packaging is their trademark. All right. Moving on to next is service mark. Now, what does service mark means? A service mark is a mark that distinguishes the service of one proprietor or owner from that of another. Service marks do not represent goods but the service afforded by the company. Now, as I've already said, service mark is not related to good. These are 2 different things. Service mark provides only services. The best example again we can have is Google, isn't it? Because when we log in to Google, it gives us service. what we want to know, what information we want to get, Google provides us. But we can't expect anything other than service from Google. For example, we can't just order anything like order any goods in Google, isn't it? So what Google is doing us? Google is giving us service. Now that Google, I am sure you guys are very familiar with how the Google is written, isn't it? So that particular thing, that particular word, Google itself is a service mark or trademark for Google company. All right. And another, the last one is collective mark. Now these are the trademarks used by a group of companies and can be protected by the group collectively. All right. So these are those trademarks which are used by group, a particular group. For example, if you later on while watching this video, if you type Reliance company, then you will find their trademark, their logo. All right. And if you type Tata and Sons, then you will get their Tata's logo and their trademark. So this is what it is trying to say. So basically, in trademark, there are three types of trademarks. Number one is product mark, number two is service mark, and number three is collective mark. So I hope you guys have understood. All right. So once again, what is a trademark? A trademark is nothing but it represents a certain company or certain owner. All right. In simple words, branded. We all want branded things. And the first desire to have branded things, if you go for a phone, you go for Apple, Samsung, Redmi, all these are brands and they have their logos. So this is what trademark is all about. Number two is names, again Samsung, Redmi, whatever it is. There are so many, isn't it? Redmi, Samsung, if you go for products like sportswear, North Face, if you go for like about kitchen items, there are so many products. So everything comes under a trademark and each and every company has a trademark. Why? In order to safeguard their interest, their innovation. Now why? The question is why? Trademark, TM. Why trademark is so important? Why it has been included in intellectual property rights? The answer is simple. The answer is very simple, so that their innovations, their ideas, their creations won't be misused by some other companies or individual. There was a very interesting case a long time, I think 2-3 years ago, regarding Apple versus Samsung. All right. The blame was Samsung has stolen some software from Apple. It's a very interesting case. You can find it out in Google. All right. So this is one of the best example. You can go through. You can go and have it on Google. All right, and check that interesting case. So next we move on is copyright. I think I have already done this in class, but then also I will have a quick revision for copyrights. All right. What is the main purpose of having copyright? Now we have completed trademark. Now we are moving towards copyright. What is the main purpose for having copyright? The main reason why copyright has been included in intellectual property right is to safeguard the creation of a creator. For example, if a music director composes a new song, all right, and he uploads in YouTube. If there is no copyright, then the moment he uploads, X, Y, Z will start saying, no, this is my composition and not his. In order to safeguard the creator's invention, the intellectual thought of the creator, this has been introduced. And the last one in copyright is now in your unit test, I came to know that many of you were confused regarding author and ownership in copyright. Alright, so this is my last one. Authorship. We should always remember authorship and ownership, there is a big difference. Ownership always flows from authorship. Who is an author? The author is the creator, isn't it? Author is the creator. But owners are not the creators. For example,